Thomas and Friends Storytime Collection. Risky Rails, based on the Railway series by the Reverend W. Awdry, illustrated by Tommy Stubbs. Blue Mountain Quarry was a very busy place. Owen moved equipment up and down the steep walls. Rusty shunted trucks of slate. The quarry engines were smaller and lighter than the other engines and ran on special tracks. Paxton, a visiting diesel, was impressed by the hard-working narrow-gauge engines. Suddenly, with a rumble, Blunden Bridge began to collapse. Rheneas saw the danger up ahead and tried to stop, but his heavy load pushed him across the bridge. Rheneas was safe. Everyone was relieved. Then they saw poor Paxton half buried in stone. He wasn't hurt, but he needed some repairs. Sir Topham Hatt asked Thomas to work in Paxton's place. "I like working with my narrow-gauge friends," he peeped. He chugged off to the quarry, where he was met with whistles of welcome. The work at the quarry was hard, but Thomas enjoyed it. Suddenly, a small green engine darted out of the tunnel. "Hello," Thomas peeped, but the engine rolled into another tunnel without answering. The next morning, Thomas saw the little green engine again. "Who are you?" Thomas asked. The little engine puffed off without answering. Thomas tried to follow. "Go, Luke!" Skarloey cried as he and the other narrow-gauge engines blocked Thomas. "Who is Luke?" Thomas asked Skarloey. "Why does he run away?" "He hides because long ago he did something very bad," Skarloey said. "He's afraid that if he's found, he'll be sent away from Sodor forever." Thomas promised to keep Luke's secret. Later, Thomas steamed off alone to think. Don't worry, Luke, he said aloud. "I'll find a way to help you." Someone was watching. The next day, Luke emerged from a tunnel and approached Thomas. "I'm sorry I hid from you," he said. "Will you be my friend?" "I'd like that," Thomas replied. Thomas and Luke worked together at the boulder drop. Thomas asked Luke why he had to hide. They didn't notice that Paxton, who had returned to the quarry, was listening as Luke told his story. "I came to the island of Sodor by boat," Luke began. "There was also a little yellow engine who spoke a strange language. While I was being lifted off, I bumped the yellow engine and he went splashing into the sea." Paxton couldn't believe what he had heard. He raced off to tell Diesel. Diesel? Oh no, not him again. At that moment, an idea flew into Thomas's funnel. "I know what I'll do," he said. "I'll find out what happened to that little yellow engine. Maybe he's at the diesel works." Thomas was shocked to hear Paxton repeating Luke's story to Diesel. "We have to tell," said Diesel. "Luke will have to leave Sodor forever." Thomas had to find the little yellow engine. He chuffed into the steamworks to talk to Victor. That engine was me, Victor said. Victor? That engine was Victor? Wow. Victor's story about his journey to Sodor matched Luke's, but there was one big difference. The chains holding my wheels were broken, he said. That's why I slid into the sea when the green engine bumped me. When Cranky fished me out, I was in a terrible state. It was an accident, peeped Thomas, and you were repaired. Yes, said Victor. I chose to be painted red, a new color for my bright new life. I have to tell Luke, Thomas said. Is Luke the little green engine? Asked Victor. Yes, said Thomas, and he needs your help. Later, Diesel and Paxton found Luke at the quarry. Luke rolled up to the narrow gauge engines where Thomas and the other engines couldn't follow. You can't hide now, shouted Diesel. Sir Topham Hatt is coming to kick you off Sodor. Even Thomas can't save you. Oh, hush, Diesel. Yes, I can, Thomas peeped as he sped into the quarry. Rocky and Owen helped Thomas climb all the way up the quarry's walls. But Thomas's wheels were too big for the narrow gauge tracks at the top. They jumped off the rails and Thomas rolled toward the edge of the cliff. Help! Thomas peeped. Just then, Luke came around the bend. Oh, hold on, Thomas. Watch out, Thomas, cried Diesel. He's going to push you off, just like he did with that yellow engine. Don't worry, said Luke. I'll pull you back to Owen. And slowly but surely, he pulled Thomas back toward the platform. Luke felt strong. Luke got Thomas safely to Owen's platform, but the top engines weighed too much for Owen. The platform began to drop straight down. Cinders and ashes, peeped Thomas. Gears whined, sparks flew, but Owen brought Thomas and Luke safely down. Just then, Sir Topham Hatt arrived with Mr. Percival, the narrow gauge controller. They were confused and angry. Then Victor steamed into the quarry. Luke, you didn't push me, he said. It was an accident. Sir Topham Hatt was upset with Diesel. You didn't find out what really happened, he said. And the real story is what matters. Well done, Thomas, said Sir Topham Hatt. Today is a happy day for Mr. Percival and his engines. Thomas has made it a happy day, sir, Luke said. He's my hero and my friend. Thomas and all his friends, new and old, whistled happily. The end. So remember, it is always best to get the true story rather than what you think happened or the false story. And I hope you enjoyed the Thomas and Friends Storytime collection. What was your favorite story in all of this? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to see the whole story, check out my playlists, Storytime and Thomas and Friends Storytime collection. See you later. Bye.